today, we are doing 10.1, which is on surface area. We're going to be looking at surface area of cylinders and at prisms today, and we'll get to that when we come to the back side. So first, what is surface area? Surface area is the sum of the areas of the outside surfaces. So the area of the surface. Not what goes on the inside, just like the edges. So to think, if I'm going to look at this cylinder, it would be like how much material is needed to make the container, not how much it holds, okay? So your formula sheet gives you this formula, SA, or surface area, equals P, which is the perimeter, times the height, P times H, plus 2 times B, and B is the area of the base. That's why they use a big B and not a little b. This would be like base times height for a rectangle or something. The big B is area of a base. So that's what your formula says, because this is the same formula that we could use for a cylinder or for a prism. So what does it mean for cylinders specifically? So if we have the perimeter times the height, that's the same in terms of a circle as the circumference. So instead of putting P times H, like they have here, I put circumference times H, and I put in the formula for circumference. Circumference is pi times diameter. And then I just have these flip-flopped from the order that's here. Plus 2 bases, because we have 2 circles that make up our cylinder as well. We have this piece that goes around the edge, which is the perimeter times the height, because this length would fit around the edge. It's the perimeter, or the circumference of the circle, times the height. So that's where that first piece comes from, the blue part. And then the 2 circles, that's what this is. 2 times the area of the base, which is a circle. So I just put the formula for the area of a circle in there, pi times radius squared. So when we're finding our surface area, we need to include both circles at the either end and the piece in the middle. So let's take a look at 2 examples. I put the same formula up here at the top. If you want to use 2 times the base plus the perimeter times the height, it's the same formula. I just broke it down into what is our base. Okay, it's a circle. Here's a formula for a circle. And what is our perimeter? Okay, it's a circle. It's the circumference. So that's why I'm going to use the top one. So, surface area equals 2 times pi times r squared. And we know our radius is 1 inch. So 1 squared plus, and you guys, the only reason I put this in parentheses is to show that that's the area of the base. It's all just multiplication, so it doesn't matter which order you multiply in this section and then this section, okay? But once it's all multiplied, then we add together, okay? Order of operations, PEMDAS, right? Multiply, then add. So we have the first part, 2 times pi times radius squared, plus pi times diameter times the height. If our radius is 1, our diameter goes all the way across. Our diameter would be 2 inches. So times 2 times our height, which is 4. So I'm going to multiply each section, and then we will add them together. Order of operations also tells me to do my exponent first. 1 squared, 1 times 1 is just 1. So we have 2 times pi times 1. I'm going to use 3.14 for pi. If you use the pi button on your calculator, that's okay too. So we get over here 6.28. That's the area of our circles on the end, our 2 bases, plus this middle part that we are including here that goes around the edge, pi times 2, 3.14 times 2 times 4, gives us 25.12. So if we add those 2 together, our total surface area, the 2 bases plus the piece around the edge, is 31.4 inches squared. And the reason why we put inches squared is because this is going to be a flat surface area, or a net that we like to call it, because this is two-dimensional when we lay it flat. When we get to, or we already did volume, no, we'll get to volume later, I don't remember. Volume would be cubed. We want just the power of 2 because it's like surface area flat. Let's take a look at the next question. Same thing, we're going to use our formula up here. So we have surface area equals 2 times pi times our radius squared. Well, they give us the diameter is 11. So our radius is half of that, which is 5.5. So 5.5 squared plus pi times the diameter, which is 11, times our height, which is also 11. Lots of 11s today. So multiply in two sections because we have this adding here. We can't do that yet. So last in the order of operations. So 5.5 squared, or 5.5 times 5.5. I'm going to evaluate this piece first. If you plug this whole section into your calculator, you will get the same answer. Times 2 times 3.14 for pi. I get 189.97. Plus, we have 3.14 times 11 gives us 379.94. So we're going to add the two pieces together, our bases plus the piece around the edge. We get a total surface area of 569.91, and we have m, this is meters. That is huge. 11 meters, you guys, that's like across the classroom. This is ginormous. We could all fit inside this cylinder. So meters squared. This is the flat amount of material that would be needed to make the cylinder. Now we're going to look at prisms. This is what we call a rectangular prism because the base is a rectangle. If we were looking at like a triangular prism, it would look something like this. That would be a triangular prism because the base is a triangle. So same thing from our formula sheet. Our area of the base is just a rectangle though, so we'll use base times height for the area of our base. And our perimeter is really just the perimeter of the base, which is a rectangle. You'll add up all the sides. Add all sides. Now I'm going to show you how to use this formula, and then I'm also going to show you a second way to find the surface area as well. If we find the surface area using the formula that we have here, we have 2 times the base times height, and the base of our rectangle is what we're looking at. So base times height of our area of the base. So we're looking at just this bottom shape right here, this rectangle. We're finding the area of each of those. So we have 2 of them that are the same size, and the base times the height is 13 times 4. Then we're going to add the distance around the outside edge. So we need to find the perimeter of the base around the outside, and we're going to multiply by the height, and that will give us all 4 of the sides that go around the edge. Okay? So we have plus our perimeter of the base. Our base has a 13 side here and a 13 side there, and then 4 here and 4 here. So if we add those up, 13 plus 13 is 26. 4 and 4 is 8. If we add that up, our perimeter on the edge is 34, multiplied by our height of our shape, which is 8. So this way is a little confusing because base times height here is base times height of the flat rectangle that lays on the bottom. Like base is 13, height would be 4. Okay, so that's where it may be getting a little bit confusing. This is the height that we'll use over here for the height of our actual prism. So if we multiply these and then multiply these, we can add them together. 2 times 13 times 4 gives us 104. And 34 times 8 gives us 272. And add 104 to that, we get 376. So our surface area is 376 meters squared. It's a flat if we lay it out in terms of a net. So the second way I'm going to show you is simply looking at the sides in terms of rectangles. We have 2 of each side or size rectangle. So if we look at this, we have what we call a front and a back. So this would be the front and the back. We have a top and a bottom, so top and bottom. And we have like a left side and a right side. So we could find the areas of each of those rectangles and simply add them up. The front and the back are going to be the same size. The top and the bottom are going to be the same size. And the left and the right are going to be the same size. So if we find out the area of each rectangle, there's just 2 of them. So 2 times each of those, find the area of base times height for each rectangle. We can add all those numbers together. So I'm going to look at first the front and the back. In this rectangle, the front is this piece right here, and the back is same but further back. So base is 13 times our height of this big rectangle, which is 8. So 13 times 8 gives me 104, but there's 2 of that size, so I'm going to multiply by 2, and we get 208. There are also 2 top and bottom. So if we look at the top and the bottom, they are the same shape. Base is 13, and our height, or left to right here, is going to be 4. 13 times 4 is 52, but there's 2 of that shape, so times 2, we get 104. And then last, we have our left and our right side, or in this case, the smallest side, which has a base of 4 and a height of 8. Oops, I forgot to write the other one in here. 13 times 4. So 4 times 8 is 32, times 2 again is 64. So if we add those 3 pieces together, 208 plus 64 plus 104, we get 376, which is the same answer we got over here. So you can use the first formula or adding up each side separately.